Good morning, Britain. Hotter than the Sahara and the Caribbean as the first red warning for extreme heat comes into force across much of England. Today could be the hottest in UK history. Temperatures could reach up to 41 Celsius, that's 106 degrees Fahrenheit, posing a risk of illness and death, even among those who are fit and healthy.
The red warning for today and tomorrow stretches from London northwards as far as Manchester and York. An amber alert covers the rest of England, Wales and parts of Scotland.
Yeah, today's ferocious heat wave is being classed by the government as a national emergency with a real risk to life. Hospitals bracing themselves for a surge in admissions, and it will impact quite dramatically on the transport network as well. Road, rail, airports, airlines, schools and public services also affected.
Temperatures over the next few days in the UK are set to be unprecedented and record-breaking. And the advice from the Met Office, stay indoors if you can, avoid the sun between 11 and 3. But the nighttime temperatures, which will also be record-breaking, will be deeply uncomfortable. And the advice also to encourage those to look after elderly and vulnerable neighbours.
Also, this morning, the gloves come off as the Conservative leadership contenders turn on each other ahead of today's third knockout round.
COVID alone fraud. Why didn't you take us seriously?
You've been both a Liberal Democrat and a Remainer. I was just wondering which one you regretted most.
When are you going to tell them the details of the plans that you're laying out?
But love is in the air in Las Vegas as Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck tie the knot 20 years after they first got engaged.
Monday, 18th of July, 2022. Live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Ranvir Singh and Ed Balls.
Good morning. It's just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. It's going to be a hot day.
It's going to be a hot... It must be serious if the directors made us stand up at the top of the show and not sit down. That means there's something big going on.
It's a strategy to stay cool.
It's a strategy to stay cool, stay mobile. Laura, you've been warning that this could happen in this country.
Yeah.
You've been doing that for maybe quite a few years now, I think. We're here today, aren't we? This is the day that you were saying, we'll get there one day. They'll be red on the map where you only expected it in Africa or in southern Spain. And here we are.
And this is what is so crazy. We have computer models that predict the weather, and there are different ways of doing it. And about 10 days ago, one of about 40 computer models projected that we could get 41 degrees. And all the forecasters were saying, you know, it won't happen, but the science says it's possible. And now we are here. We are forecasting those temperatures of 39 degrees Celsius, which is over 100 Fahrenheit, as we head through to today. And then tomorrow we are forecasting temperatures of 41, maybe 42 degrees Celsius. I genuinely didn't think in my forecasting career over the next 20 years, even then I'll be predicting these temperatures. So when people are saying, this is just summer, we should get out and enjoy it, this is not the kind of weather to get out and enjoy it. And this isn't summer. Summer temperatures are 23, 24 degrees. And in other countries, yes, they have these temperatures, but the infrastructure are built. You know, the engineers build the road and the rail and the houses to keep people cool and to not melt. In this country, where Nick Dixon will be telling us later, we're just not built for it. And anytime we go over 35 degrees, which is exceptionally rare, excess deaths increase massively. So that is why it's a national emergency. That is why I'm in the studio to report on all the details. And honestly, it's not scaremongering. This is exceptionally serious.
Yeah, because weather forecasters over the years, you know, oh, you're just sort of, you're pumping it up, you know, it's a bit of hype. You get that when there's a hurricane on the way and then it never happens, or, you know, all of that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously, we're saying you've got there 40 in London. I mean, you've got 27 in Aberdeen there. This is a forecast. What do you think? This is tomorrow is also going to be hot, isn't it? This is just a today story. No, it's a today story, a tomorrow story, but also a tonight story. Can I just say, overnight tonight, we are very likely to break our all-time overnight temperature record. So I thought I would show us this. So today, our starting temperatures are already in the low 20s. They're set to climb around about lunchtime up to nearly 40 degrees Celsius. And people might be thinking, I'll head out later this evening. I'll go for a run. 9 o'clock this evening, it will still be
30 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, it will still be 30 degrees Celsius. There'll be no escaping the heat. And for people, particularly very young and very old, and Dr. Healy will tell us later, people can't regulate their bodies.
No.
So for young people with young babies, just wondering how to stay cool in houses, particularly high rises, where the temperature will be 5 to 10 degrees hotter than it would be at low levels.
Yeah.
But there'll be people who are watching the programme thinking, like, come on, Laura, we have hot days in the summer. We've had hot days before in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Is this really so different?
It is. I don't know if we have it, Stuart, but there is a map of the big, famous heat wave of 1976.
When you weren't born, but I was...
Before I was born.
I was
yes.
9 years old. I remember it really well.
And where we're sitting right now. And the difference between then and now is absolutely huge. We'll show you a picture later on. But 37 degrees Celsius is our body temperature. And today, the air temperature will be hotter than our body temperature. Dr. Haley will be telling us why that is such an issue later. But that is the massive problem, and they're just set to climb, and just people won't be able to cope. Their bodies are going to start overheating. And also, our thermometers have measured these temperatures in the shade, so when you were in direct sunlight, we could easily be approaching something near 50 degrees.
Yeah, and we're so lucky in the studio, there's full air conditioning. It doesn't feel hot in here today.
But the question is air conditioning the solution to these hot days, or does having loads of air conditioning make the climate change challenge
We've got
worse?
so much more to talk about through the show, haven't we? And as you were saying, Nick Dixon is out, bizarrely, with the Gritters, which, you know, is a snow story usually, isn't it? But, of course...
The Gritters?
The Gritters. We're going to find out. Well, should we find out? So, of course, as Laura is saying there, the UK's first ever red weather warning for extreme heat is now in place for large parts of England, meaning there's a danger to life and a threat of major travel disruption.
Over the next 2 days, temperatures are set to soar to 41 degrees Celsius. That's a staggering 106 degrees Fahrenheit.
Curious what Nick's doing, aren't you? Should we find out?
He's in Warwick, apparently. Nick, people are urged only to travel if absolutely necessary. And what are these gritters?
Morning to you both. The gritters actually are going to play a huge part in keeping us safe on the roads over the next 48 hours. We've got the breakdown services warning us that aside from the fact it's just going to be very uncomfortable to drive over the next 48 hours, there is a much bigger chance of having a blowout, melting roads as